never felt so alive in my life. 'Cause you make me come to life every time I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you see that I'm crashing right into you? That I'm crashing right into you. I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you see that I'm crashing right into you? Yeah, I'm free falling. Can you hear me calling for you? Yeah, I'm free falling. I'ma keep on falling for you. I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you see that I'm crashing right into you?
Welcome to the Fray Flak Pack. It's Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 build video. And in today's Borderlands build video, I am going to be presenting you guys my King's Gambit's Flak build. Now, with the recent buffs of the Rowans call, the Lucian's call, and the King's call, us flak mains out there have been really freaking excited about this, and I've put together the best possible build to use these three guns and basically do any content in the game. But let's get into today's video. We are going to be showcasing the newly buffed weapons, and I decided to call it King's Gambit because I want him to be the king of all three of these guns. And these three guns on flak I feel most suit him just because they're centered around hitting critical hits, and that's what we're going to be doing here today. So let's hop straight into the skill trees. Of course, purple, useless, get it out of here. But in the master skill tree, we went deep enough to get the Great Horn Skagged for the gun damage and the normal damage to stack. And of course, we got our Frenzy He Bites combo for even more damage. Over into the Hunter tree, we have 5 points in Interplanetary Stalker for the extra damage, 5 points into Hunter's Eye for all the benefits, 5 points into Two Fang so we can actually get more projectiles, 6 out of 5 into the Most Dangerous Game for the extra crit damage and gun damage, Galactic Shadow, of course, for the extra % crit damage. And finally, Megavore, just so we have a chance to hit crits when we're not actually aiming for the head. And, of course, Leave No Trace does not need to be included within this build, because every one of the call weapons have their own basic Leave No Trace benefit built into them, so it's really not worth it, in my opinion, to go for this. And finally, the Stalker skill tree, we went far enough to get the capstone itself, the power inside, so we can get that 50% bonus damage for 15 seconds. We have some other perks in here that are going to help a little bit with survivability, like Rage and Recover alongside Turntail and Run. Hidden Machine will help out a little bit alongside the Fast and the Furious for the extra gun damage, and a little bit more fire rate from Overclocked, which is going to increase our DPS. And as for the Fade setup, we are not running Gorillas in the Mist. I see a lot of people saying, why don't you just run Gorillas in the Mist so you can proc all of the King's Calls and all that? But honestly, if you can hit crits and your aim is good, it's basically wasted damage, because I would much rather get my ASEs and my next two mags to proc for even more damage and not rely on Mist. And then again, Mist isn't one of my more likable flak augments, to be completely honest with you. But if you want to run it that way, you completely can. I just prefer the extra damage from Unblinking Eye and the extra utility from Until You Are Dead. Everyone has their preference. Over to the Guardian rank, as always, I do not have any Guardian rank perks, buffs, stats, anything enabled. Just not how I like to play Borderlands, and all the builds on this channel feature no Guardian rank, just so you guys know. Now over into the inventory, it is pretty simple. We have a Corrosive Lucian's Call with next 2 mags Corrosive, a Shock Rowan's Call with next 2 mags Cryo, a Fire King's Call with next 2 mags Radiation, and we have the Clockwork Res for our utility, just so we can get our pet up in certain situations where maybe you and your pet are both down and you can't get a kill, or maybe you just want your pet back up to draw more aggro. Overall, great utility on flak. But before I get into the as of whys of why I pick these certain elements and these certain ASEs, let's go into the gear. We have the Revolter. This is going to give us 200% shock damage for 15 seconds, as well as an amazing fire rate boost. And we have the Anointment on action skill starts, so every time we pop into our 3-shot fadeaway, we can get this bonus. We do have Hunter Seekers in different ASEs, so we don't ASE stack on top of our weapons. Ignore the sticky Quasar. The Quasar is just there because I didn't have a corrosive ASE Hunter Seeker, because you do want to run this when doing the Maliwan takedown to get the most damage out of it. And plus, Hunter Seeker is a great synergy with our Bounty Hunter class mod, which we have Jacob's Weapon crit damage, which is going to benefit basically everything except the Lucians. It is Vladoff. And weapon damage is going to help everything, and splash damage is a funny one. Splash damage is not going to help the Lucians, but for some reason it helps the Kings and the Rowans. I don't know why. It might just be the projectiles. For some reason they register as splash damage. If anyone knows more about that subject, please let me know in the comments. I'm not very good at differentiating splash from non-splash when it comes to this game. But first of all, the Lucian's Call, corrosive and ASE corrosive. This is going to be your armor melter. This is going to be your Maliwan takedown weapon. And I picked on action skill and next 2 mags for most of these weapons, basically all these weapons rather, because when we're getting the extra critical hits to return ammo back to the magazine, King's Call might be the only exception with this, but you're not going to be reloading a lot with this build. The King's Call, if you miss your shots, you're going to be reloading a lot, probably not the best, but if you're getting the 3-shot fade, you're going to guarantee your first 3 shots with the King's Call to be crits, and that's a crap ton of damage. And that's basically why I did that, and that's another reason why I went with the Pearl of Knowledge for the fire rate and magazine size, because to be quite frank with you, I'm kind of sick of URAD flak. I feel like it's been overdone. There's other ways to get more damage, and honestly, the Pearl of Knowledge alongside next 2 mags, in my opinion, does way more damage than URAD, and it works really well with this build, and the survivability isn't that bad, but if you find yourself struggling a little bit, a Victory Rush is always able to go into a flak build. It helps out tremendously. But enough chit chat from me. I do want to mention that your Rowan's Call is probably going to be your main squeeze when it comes to most mobbing. Like I said, Lucian's Call is going to be your corrosive Maliwan takedown melter, and your King's Call and Fire is going to kill basically everything with a red health bar. And if you want to download everything you see in today's video, I do have a PC save file, link in the description below right next to my Discord if you guys want to join that. But let's showcase how this works. We just pop into Fade Away, ignore my terrible scope on my Rowans. I actually think it is quite helpful. And yeah, you go around melting everything that you see. The amount of damage that this thing does, honestly, if you guys remember a long time ago on my channel, I made a Rowan's Call flak build, and that was probably one of my first flak builds to blow up on YouTube, and I love it so freaking much that I could experience this again. As you see, we still have our next 2 mags cryo because we still haven't reloaded yet, and that's why I prefer it over URAD, because we already have our action skill back, and yeah, the ricochets are amazing. It's just so fun. I feel like this is how flak is supposed to be played, especially when you're using a crit-centered weapon. Now, I only want to go for shock with this weapon just because I believe, in my opinion, shock is the most versatile element. It does have its weakness, of course, against stuff like armor, but that's why we have next 2 mags cryo, and of course fire damage, health damage is more benefited from cryo. So there's not a lot of resistances that this build can't fight against, like I said before. And it's crazy that you can get the AoE damage of a rocket launcher with something as simple as an assault rifle, which is honestly crazy. I don't know, I'm just really happy about this gun. As you could tell, it's glad to be playing flak like this again. And I know Zane could actually make this gun pretty powerful as well, but you know, all I play is your boy flak, so I'm happy. I'm happy. Thank you, Gearbox, for doing this. This is all I wanted out of the Rowan's Call. It used to be a very mediocre weapon before this buff. It was still viable if you really tried your ass off to build a build around it. But man, I just love it so much, dude. This is I'm probably only gonna use this build until like something changes, because it's so damn fun and exciting to use this damn thing. And I think another key factor with this build is alongside overclocked, if we just proc our overclock really quick and we use our revolter, we're getting a lot. Look at that fire rate. That fire rate is just ridiculous. And that doesn't only go for the Lucian's Call. If we go to the King's Call right here, as you can see, it does shoot a lot faster. But I love using this on Grave Ward specifically, because the King's Call could already melt Grave Ward at a decent pace. But when you use the Revolter to get that fire rate benefit, and you reload for Overclock's fire rate benefit, you're getting insane fire rate. And I don't even think, did I have ASE? I didn't even have ASE Incendiary. That could have been a faster kill. You probably already saw that kill in the intro, but the fact that you can shoot the King's Call that fast and that much DPS, you're probably going to be using that for the flesh stage of Vermivorous. But yeah, that is basically my King's Gambit Flak build. Probably one of my favorite builds. I know I say this so damn much, but I keep finding builds in this game that are just more and more unique and cater to certain playstyles I like to, well, play with. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please show your support by hitting the like button. Yeah, the like button. And make sure you guys subscribe to join the Flak Pack. We are getting so close to 6,000 subscribers. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. You guys are freaking amazing. And if you guys are interested, make sure you join my Flak Pack Discord. Link is in the description below alongside the PC save file. If you have a problem downloading the PC save files, Moxie has a cool video on that. Also link there. You guys have a terrific day, and I'll see you guys later.